everybody. Tony Ross here from Chandler Ross Injury Attorneys out of Denton, Texas. Hope everybody's doing well. I hadn't talked to y'all in a while. I wanted to make a video today because this last weekend, my family and kids and a couple friends went to the Rangers game, Rangers v. White Sox, and Rangers definitely kicked some behind. Go Rangers. But a question came up that I get a lot at baseball games and other sporting events, especially when people find out I'm an attorney. And that is, hey, if one of these foul balls comes back and knocks me in the head, can I sue? Can I file a claim against the Rangers or the stadium or the property owner or whoever? And typically, unfortunately, the answer is generally going to be no. And that's because Texas has a doctrine that's called assumption of risk. And essentially what that means is that if you participate or engage in something to where there's a reasonable risk that can be expected, there's a reasonable danger inherent with that activity, and something happens, then it's probably going to be very difficult to make a claim. Going to a baseball game, sitting in the stands, having a foul ball come at you in the stands and possibly hit you is something that you can expect if you're sitting in the stands and you're watching the game. It's something that's definitely considered reasonable. It's not anything that a fan would say, oh, that would never happen. And in fact, it happens all the time. It happens every single game. One thing that I always contrast that with is say, for example, one of the Rangers players gets mad after striking out, and he takes the bat and he chunks it into the stand, and it hits your 8-year-old son. Absolutely, that's not okay. That's not something that any fan should ever have to worry about, should have to fear, and it's not something that anybody should reasonably expect would happen at a place like a baseball game. And so that's not an assumption of risk in sitting in the stands watching a game. You're not assuming the risk of getting assaulted by a player with a baseball bat. Not to say that happens, and I can't remember the last time a Ranger did that. Just as an example, though, that would be something to where, yes, you would definitely have a claim to be made. Another example, say the facility hasn't been taken care of properly, hadn't been maintained properly, and let's say part of the deck above you, a chunk of concrete falls and hits you in the head and causes some severe damage. You can absolutely make a claim for that, because no fan goes to a baseball game or a facility of any kind like that and expects to have to worry about the stadium falling apart and knocking them out or possibly worse. So that's certainly not an assumption of risk. Some other examples that I often talk about are, let's say you sign up for a flag football league, and you're going out and you're going for a TD, and you trip and blow out your knee, right? Can you sue the facility owner for that? Can you sue the league for that? Most likely not, because you assume that risk by signing up for the league, by joining the team, and by agreeing to play. That's a risk that's inherent with playing flag football. Let's say, for example, you're running off the field and you slide onto the bleachers to take a seat, and there's a big screw sticking up out of the bleachers, and it gushes your leg. I mean, you're bleeding all over the place. Absolutely, that's not something that would be expected. That's not a reasonable concern that any player of a flag football league should have to worry about. And so, yes, most likely you would have a claim against that facility owner for failing to maintain their premises in a safe and reasonable manner. So, things often come down to common sense, but a lot of these questions are very, very real and very reasonable questions. I mean, I wouldn't have known the answer to a lot of these situations before I went to law school. And so after going to the game and seeing some of this, I thought I'd make a video, because I do get the question a lot. It does come up, and rightfully so. people always ask about it and people always wonder. So in short, you get hit by a foul ball, you're probably not going to have any claim. So take a big glove and try to protect yourself. On the other hand, if something else happens that wouldn't reasonably be expected, that you're not assuming a certain risk for in going to that activity, going to that facility, that's a different story. So we'd be happy to talk with you guys about anything. I don't like to get into the details in comments. Feel free to leave us a comment, ask a question. I don't like to get into the details of specific cases in those comments, but feel free to reach out to us if you ever have anything that you're wondering about. I'll answer comments and questions as thoroughly as I can, but we are always here to discuss the specific facts of any particular case that you may or may not have at any time. So again, my name is Tony Ross with Chandler Ross Injury Attorneys here in Denton, Texas. We primarily take cases around North Texas. Occasionally we go down to Houston, Austin, maybe East Texas, West Texas, some oil field stuff like that. But mostly it's North Texas. We are certainly willing, able, and eager to talk with anybody that thinks that they may have or may wonder if they may have a legitimate claim, something worth pursuing. We absolutely do not want to get into anything frivolous or anything that's going to waste our time or yours. So we'll shoot you straight, and we'll tell you if you've got a claim that we believe is worth pursuing, and we'll tell you otherwise if you don't. It's not worth anybody's time, and it's not worth anybody's money in going after things that just shouldn't be sought. So we'll always shoot you straight here. Again, Chandler Ross Injury Attorneys here in Denton, Texas. Hope this video was informative, somewhat entertaining. Again, go Rangers. We actually whipped the White Sox this weekend, so I was pretty proud of that game, and my kids actually absolutely loved it. So it was great, and it inspired me to make this video. Hope this answers some of y'all's questions, and I hope everybody's doing well out there. Thanks. Bye-bye.